Don't ruin your life. Use the just listen method for crucial talks. My wife Patricia came up with this powerful way to address a serious relationship issue that you have with a friend, a fiancé, or a spouse. Generally, this problematic issue will be something the other person is doing or is failing to do that you find so unbearable, disturbing, or unacceptable that, if continued, it will seriously damage or even end your relationship. It can also be something that he or she did just one time that, should it happen again, could have the same negative effect. I'm calling it the just listen method. Here's how it works. Choose a time when the other person can give you his or her complete attention. Then say that you need to have a serious talk, but you want them to just listen. No interjections, no corrections, no comments, no disagreements, no explanations, no excuses, no debate. Not a word. And you request that they maintain this complete silence even when you're through talking, and not make any response at all until the next day at the earliest. If they agree to your request, you explain briefly and clearly what the problem is. Don't get distracted by side issues. To prepare for this, you need to think hard about what you're going to say well in advance. If you need to, write down notes and refer to them as you talk. I should mention here that if the other person refuses your request, you've got much bigger problems than you thought. To continue, when explaining your relationship issue, you must avoid expressing any anger, whether it's through your words, your tone of voice, or your facial expression. Any sign of anger will automatically trigger in your listener a deeply embedded mental and physical self-defense response, which will override the message you're trying to convey. We all have this automatic response to another person's anger, which occurs whether you're talking to a stranger, a friend, or your spouse, though of course it'll be stronger with a stranger. So that's it. That's the just listen method for crucial relationship talks. Because there's a definite hint of ultimatum in the just listen method, you should use it only when your previous comments or hints or requests concerning the problem issue have been ignored or brushed off as unimportant or excused. On the other hand, if you truly want the relationship to continue, don't wait until you're ready to end it if they don't instantly agree with you. If that's the case, you're probably ready to end it no matter what they say or do. The first time my wife asked me to just listen to what she had to say and not respond until the next day, the request was so unusual that I knew it was about something extremely important to her, so of course I agreed. In retrospect, I know why she came up with this idea. I've always been a pretty good listener, especially when she was talking, either to me or to another person. But, unfortunately, I was also an expert rationalizer. I was a master in the art of convincing myself that the reasons for whatever I wanted to do were right, or at least not actually wrong. At this point in our long relationship, which was cut short by her untimely death, Patty was well aware of my ability to invent plausible excuses for my character defects. So, in an attempt to get past these barriers, she devised the just listen method. In this case, her concern was my pessimistic outlook on life, the world, and humans in general. It was infecting everything I said, even my jokes. Patty was an even-tempered and naturally happy person, and my relentless daily negativity was dragging her down. As she talked about this, I didn't say a word, but at first I was silently creating excellent explanations for my attitude and why it wasn't a serious problem. Not for me, anyway. I had good reasons for my negative outlook. And, deeper down, I equated changing my attitude with changing my personality, which I thought was pretty awesome. However, within a short time, the mental energy I was using to silently defend my bad attitude was derailed. It's true that you can't talk and listen at the same time, even when the talking is in your own mind, so my brain had shifted to listening. When Patty was through talking, she thanked me for not interrupting, reminded me to wait until tomorrow to respond, and we both went on with our day. Here's the strange thing. As the hours passed, my list of defensive counterpoints started fading away. It was replaced by Patty's message, which was an implied plea for me to change or risk our relationship. I was able to put myself in her position and imagine what it was like to listen all day to my depressing observations and pessimism-based humor. And that reminded me of a friend whose conversation and humor were also almost entirely based on negativity, which was why I often avoided talking to him, which in turn reminded me that one of the many things I loved about Patty was her positive personality, including her random comments on things in nature that she found beautiful or fascinating. In other words, pretty much the opposite of the person I was becoming. Ouch! When I woke up the next morning, I told Patty she was right. I told her I would change, and I did. Unexpectedly, this greatly benefited me beyond our relationship. Moving my focus from life's negatives made room for the positives. This lightened my daily mood, my conversations with other people, and my overall attitude toward life. No, I didn't become Voltaire's Candide, but I was definitely happier in general. That change has stayed with me, though Patty's passing over 20 years ago still causes lapses. Aside from being able to truly listen because you're not talking, I think the just listen method of deep communication works because not physically voicing any defensive arguments robs them of power. Spoken statements are personal creations, the children of your own mind and body, which consciously and subconsciously puts them in a favorable and preferred light. And I also think it works because not commenting until the next day includes the intervening phenomenon of sleep. Sleep allows you to wander off the rigid paths constructed by your waking mind. It removes the mental barriers to outside ideas and alternative viewpoints. There's an often used expression when people are considering a complicated or weighty matter, which is, "let me sleep on it." That expression didn't come from nowhere. In closing, if you ever use the just listen method to resolve a relationship problem, don't thank me. Thank my wife, Patty.